Okay, friends, this is a short review of what a strong thesis statement looks like. So what is a thesis statement? It's a sentence that announces the big idea, or more precisely, the argument that the rest of the paper, your paper, will go on to defend with evidence, reasoning, and careful writing. And I have a little clip there, a little picture of a lawyer presenting evidence to a jury. You might want to think about that when there's a case in the courtroom, it's because the conclusions aren't always clear. And so a lawyer defends one side of the argument, another lawyer defends the other side of the argument, because sometimes things aren't always so clear. So it has to be a persuasive argument with evidence. And that you might think of when you're writing your own papers. Where does the thesis statement go? Typically, it's a sentence in length, and a thesis statement most often is the final sentence in an introductory paragraph. And that's the way I'd like you to think about it, that we start broadly, we welcome the reader in to the work that we're going to study together, what you're going to write about, and give them, so we're going to look at an example of this, and then you conclude with the thesis statement. Now, there are some writers who begin with a thesis statement. We can talk about that, but for the moment, I'd like us to consider it as the final sentence. So here is the paragraph that you saw over the summer. I'm going to come back to this probably from time to time. And this is a perfectly reasonable opening paragraph for an analysis of Star Wars, and you'll see where the argument comes. Here we go. The rebel defeat at the end of the original Star Wars has become mythic. It's the ultimate comeback story, and audiences love it for the same reasons we love to root for the underdog in the World Series, the unfavored team in the Super Bowl, and any classic sports movie. But the satisfaction of the defeat at the end of Star Wars has to be earned. In other words, it doesn't just happen. If it were poor writing or just dumb luck that Luke Skywalker lands his torpedoes in the air shaft of the Death Star, we'd say, nice movie, but I don't buy it. What then makes this ending so satisfying? The clue is in the stark differences between the people of the Rebel Alliance and those on the dark side. So right now, I'm going to pause here and stop my reading my paragraph and say, notice that I welcome the reader in by talking about the movie Star Wars, so I let them know exactly what we'll be dealing with. And I sort of talk about some big themes that we love it because it's a comeback story, right? That isn't a thesis, but I'm working my way towards one. And then I get a little bit more specific when you see where I say the clue is in the stark differences between the people of the Rebel Alliance and those on the dark side. Now, I haven't really made my argument clear yet, but I'm working towards it. Let's carry on. The rebels are understaffed, under-resourced, and scrappy. So how do they do it? Their success is due to their belief that friends helping friends makes any effort stronger. See, I'm getting more and more specific now. Such collaboration and trust enables them to pool their individual abilities and defeat the much more powerful empire. And here's the thesis statement. In the end, the film suggests that it's not just that good can defeat evil, it's good that collaborates towards a common goal that makes any team successful. Now that is something that has to be supported with evidence and reasoning. That's what the rest of my paper is going to try to illuminate. So I go from the very broad to the very specific, and I'm making a very specific and unambiguous claim or argument. What I mean by argument is it's something that I have to argue in the legal sense of it, where I have to pull in evidence and I have to persuade you with very good evidence that my position is credible. Now, I'm going to look at just a couple of statements here that might be what I call sentences on the way to being thesis statements. One could be Star Wars is about good versus evil. Or it could be Star Wars is about the underdog defeating the favorite. Now, those are good themes, and they're on their way to an argument, but they're not really thesis statements. Why? Because they don't say how the film works to make this theme happen. It just says a broad thing, and it's like saying, during the day the sky is usually blue, and at night it's black. Right? I want to know, why that matters and how, that happens. And so we come back to the statement, and I want to point out why this makes a thesis statement. In the end, the film suggests that it's not just that good can defeat evil, it's good that collaborates toward a common goal that makes any team successful. That's really the heart of my argument. The rest of my paper is going to be dealing with Star Wars and dealing with the whole big idea of the underdog versus the favorite. But I'm going to be focused, sort of obsessively focused, on those moments when the rebels collaborate and work together, and those moments with the evil empire when they work individually and they work against each other. Now, having seen this film 8,000 times, I can think of immediately of very specific moments where Han Solo helps Luke, when Ben Kenobi helps Luke and helps Princess Leia, right? There's all of this assistance that continues to happen. But think about the dark side with Darth Vader, who when he doesn't like somebody, he chokes them, right? He doesn't try to work through problems. He tries to kill people who don't agree with him. Okay, so that's just an example, just off the cuff. Those would be really fertile examples from the movie that would help me make this case. So I would probably, in the rest of the paper, show a bunch of examples about when the empire, even though they're superior in power, are fractured because they don't know how to collaborate. And then I would show that even though the empire is sort of broken without a lot of resources, they work together that makes them so bloody successful. And it's a wonderful movie because that's satisfying. So that's it. I hope this helps in your review of thesis statements. And of course, I will always be there to help you to work through them yourselves. All right, that's it.